Once, long ago, or perhaps not so long ago, in a deep green wood full of oak trees, there lived a scurry of squirrels. A scurry, I should tell you, is the collective name for a group of squirrels. Now one day, while the others were enjoying the morning sunshine, which was pouring through the trees like honey from a spoon, one squirrel was gathering nuts, until he heard a terrifying sound which made him jump and scared him greatly. He dashed back to the other squirrels and caused them all to gather in a huddle. "I have just heard a terrible sound. How frightening it was! We are in great danger, and we must run away." The sound that he had heard was in fact the crashing of an old tree which had fallen nearby, but he did not know that. Such were the things that he said to the others, as they stood gathered together, shaking in fear of what the noise might mean. They decided to run away. As they ran, they passed a rabbit, who asked them why they were running. "We heard a terrible sound. We are really scared," they said. The rabbit reported this to the rest of his colony, which is what a group of rabbits is called. They decided that as the squirrels were running from the terrible sound, then they too should do so. So they did. As they ran after the squirrels, they passed a business of ferrets. A business is the collective name for ferrets, who called out to them, "Where are you going in such a rush? We heard a terrible noise, terrifying," the rabbits shouted as they ran. Ferrets, who are easily scared, began to panic, and they too decided that the best thing to do would be to run. As they ran, they passed a group of hedgehogs, which, as we all know, is known as an array of hedgehogs. They too asked what the fuss was about, to which the ferrets replied, "A terrible noise, a terrifying noise." The debate began within the array of hedgehogs, and it was deemed wise to follow the suit of the ferrets and run away. They in turn passed a set of badgers. I don't need to tell you that a bunch of badgers is known as a set, now do I? "What's the panic for?" they asked. "A noise! A terrifying noise! Run for your lives!" The badgers did not need telling twice. They ran. They came to a skulk of foxes. Do I need to tell you? I'm sure I do not. The foxes inquired as to the cause for alarm. The badgers told them, "Noise! Terrible! Run!" The foxes took flight immediately. They came to a group, a sounder of boar, who were happily snouting around in the ground. "Hey-ho, foxes, what's the to-do?" "It's terrifying! Run!" Boars are normally slow on the uptake, but not this time. They ran along in a cloud of dust, which took them near to a parcel of deer. Yes, a parcel. Who asked the boar what was going on. "Oh, it's terrifying! Run!" Being cautious at the best of times, the deer took to their heels. They cantered along and out of the trees, where they saw all the other animals gathered together, looking quite anxiously back into the wood. At this point, a single, solitary female wildcat, who was lying on a branch of a tree, called down to them. "What on earth are you doing?" she inquired of the deer. "It was so terrifying, we ran away." What was terrifying? "A noise." "What noise?" "The noise." "Yes, but which noise?" "The loud noise that was heard." "Who heard?" "We don't know. The boar told us about it." "We will ask the boar, then, where this noise came from." The wildcat turned to the sounder of boar, who were trembling in fear. "Well, where did this sound come from, and what made it?" "We don't know. The foxes told us about it." The wildcat looked at the frightened skulk of foxes. "Speak, foxes. From where did this terrifying sound emanate?" "We have no idea. The badger told us to run, so we did. Ask them." The wildcat did just that. "You, badgers, where did this sound happen?" "How should we know? We heard about it from the hedgehogs." The array of hedgehogs looked up at the wildcat. "So, Where did this awful noise come from? Ask the ferrets, they told us about it. The wild cat turned to the business of fearful ferrets. What have you to say about this? We know nothing at all. The rabbits came pelting past us and told us that there had been a terrifying noise and that we should run. So we did. We ran, and here we are. The rabbit colony had nothing to say on the matter other than to point at the scurry of squirrels. They told us to run. They told us that they had heard a really terrible noise. Is this true? The wildcat asked of them. Sort of, they replied. So you know where this terrible sound came from? Actually, no. We didn't hear it ourselves. He did, they said, pointing to the one who had. The wild cat sprang down from the branch in the tree and went up to one very small and abashed-looking squirrel. So you know about this, do you? Where this sound, this terrible noise came from? I do. I heard it while I was gathering nuts, back in there. He pointed to the wood. Then, said the wild cat, let us go and see what so terrifying about it is. The animals all began to jabber at once. It will be dangerous. We might get eaten. It could be a big bad something or another. We don't want to die. The wild cat looked at the assembly of creatures which had gathered around her. Between you all, you have claws and teeth, powerful muscles, strong bones, and pointed antlers or tusks. Yet you are scared of a noise that you know nothing about. Apart from one of you, of course, who has managed to get all of you so frightened about something that you have not even heard, seen, or smelt. The animals were beginning to look a little sheepish. The wild cat turned back to the squirrel. So now let us go and find out what it was that scared you, for I am sure it cannot have been as bad as you have said. The whole troop of woodland animals marched along behind the wild cat and the squirrel. The scurry, the colony, the business, the array, the set, the skulk, the sounder, and the parcel all stopped and stood in front of the place where the tree had fallen. Now, unless anyone is stupid enough to remain standing under a tree as it falls, how dangerous can a fallen tree be? It seems to me that your fear is more dangerous than that which caused it, said the wild cat. She then turned to the squirrel. As for you, you have taken fright at something simply because you do not understand it. So now, all of you, just go away and carry on with what you were doing. The rabbits went back to being rabbits, and the ferrets back to their business. There was an array of hedgehogs to be seen scuttling off into the leafy undergrowth, while the badgers set off to their sets. The foxes went skulking off to the edge of the wood, and the sounder of boars loudly grunted away while rooting for roots. The deer went off in a parcel. The squirrels were all back up in the trees, and the one who had started the panic was scurrying off to his nuts. The wild cat stretched herself out on a tree branch and tried to imagine a more stupid episode in the history of those woods. She couldn't.